When I meet up with me people, when I hear them in the streets, using big words with melody like Berbice and Pablo G, I just smile inside and shake my head with pride, knowing that no matter where me they're worldwide, me can never hide from the culture. All right. Greetings from Atlanta, Georgia. My name is Uncle Pablo. I'm the proud producer and host of Pablo's Kreolese Karna, also known as the Karna. I want to welcome all our fans joining us on Facebook Live. Wherever you are, you're welcome from the Karna. All right. We have a very special Virtual-40 Concert edition today, and we're celebrating the work and works of award-winning Guyanese poet and author, also a painter, Maggie Harris. So let's get this thing started, shall we? Enough of Uncle Pablo. I'm gonna go back to our opening proverb, which is, good night, na mean farewell. Good night, na mean farewell. I'm gonna pick on Dionne, Sister Dionne. She is our Kreolese expert. Good night, na mean farewell, Dionne. What does that mean?
Okay, well, it means basically if you're telling someone goodbye, or if something has seems to be final, it's probably just a door closing with a new one opening. That's what
I like that. So we're gonna kick things off with our artist introduction, and I'm gonna turn the mic over to Brother Vinny Prasad, who will introduce our featured artist today.
Thank you, Pablo. Morning again, neighbors, aunties and uncles, Nali Banners and Binnies. It's my honor to introduce this morning our featured guest on the Karna's second V40 concert. Maggie Harris was born in Guyana. Her father, Captain James Harris, worked on the Berbice River for a bauxite company based in Everton, and then as Commodore. Always an artist and writer from an early age, Maggie's career developed as a mature student at Kent University from the early 90s, where she achieved a BA honors in African Caribbean Studies and an MA in post-colonial studies. Her first collection of poetry, Limbo Lands, won the Guyana Prize in 2000, followed by her fourth collection, 60 Years of Loving, in 2014. Not satisfied with those awards and accomplishments, she has won the Commonwealth Short Story Prize for the Caribbean, judged by the award-winning writer Marlon James, and also the Wales Poetry Award, judged by one of the UK's finest poets, Pascal Petit. Her work has been commissioned by the BBC, and she's performed in Europe, the Caribbean, and India. She has worked as International Teaching Fellow at Southampton University and Creative Arts Facilitator across the Southeast and Wales, collaborating with other artists, including musicians and dancers. Maggie has written 10 books, including short stories and a memoir, Kiskadee Girl. She's currently collaborating with fellow Guyanese artists Alfred Adams, Andy Gordon, and James Paul, aka Uncle Pablo, who will now delve into Maggie's very impressive work.
Thank you, Brother Vinny. Congratulations on your journey as a poet and as an artist, Sister Maggie. It's an honor to have you on the Karna. So Maggie, let's get into it. The first poem that will be performed today is Food, Glorious Caribbean Food. Tell us about your inspiration to write that piece and what it's all about.
Well, I spent quite a few years working with children, doing poetry in schools, and I kind of had to learn on my feet running before I was asked to do that. I didn't used to write for children, but when I was asked by schools to run some workshops, I started writing for children, and they taught me a lot. And the biggest thing was, how do I talk about the Caribbean and Guyana to English children? Because they've got somebody standing in front of them, they don't even know where Guyana is. Yeah, so you have to have a little bit of a history, you know. So the work that was produced out of that had to bring the two worlds together, you know, the British world of what the children know and our Caribbean world. So I thought that poem, Food, Glorious Caribbean Food, as you'll hear, It's just kind of listing what we eat in the Caribbean and also about what we have here.
So thank you for that explanation of the inspiration. We'll go right into the poem right now.
Hello, I'd like to share one of my poems with you which I wrote for children, but I thought the grown-ups might like it as well. It's called Food, Glorious Caribbean Food. Oh, how my mouth is watering for a taste of a little home food. Much as I love roast dinners, there is nothing like Caribbean food. From first thing in the morning, my belly start to rumble. Give me saltfish and bake, or I will grumble and grumble. At 11 o'clock same morning, I lick in my lips, imagining a nice juicy slice of pineapple, guava, guinea, and sugar cane. Oh, how my mouth is watering for a taste of a little home food. Much as I love spaghetti, there is nothing like Caribbean food. At lunchtime, I am spoilt for choice. Curry and roti or dal puri, my mummy's special cook-up rice, coconut and black-eyed beans. I'll have some shrimp and callaloo with fried fish on the side. Line up the fried plantain and edo and chicken chow mein too. Oh, how my mouth is watering for a taste of a little home food. As much as I love Yorkshire pudding, there is nothing like Caribbean food. Tea time now is butterflap, sugar and coconut cake, a spice bun and a patty, and a long cool glass of sorrel. Time for dinner, what left to eat? Dal and rice and hassa fish, dumplings still left in the dish. Time for the soursop ice cream and the mango and lime cheesecake. Oh, how my mouth is watering for a taste of a little home food. Much as I like chicken nuggets, there is nothing like Caribbean food.
All right. Awesome. Thank you, Maggie. So that was wonderful. As I said, I love your words and the way you use your words to capture the images and the stories you're trying to tell. So that was wonderfully done.
Thinking of food, Christmas is just gone, and one of the ingredients that is so much in demand is casri. Now, I'm giving Maggie some homework here. I want a poem about pepper pot. Right? See if you can.
Want a poem about pepper pot?
Yes. Yeah, make a poem about pepper pot.
Okay.
Good.
Because this past Christmas, you know, we do this thing called Border Bazaar, so Guyanese could come and purchase product for Christmas, and the biggest item in demand was casrip.
Yeah.
And I knew that from previous years, so I stocked up on it, and we had much left over actually. But if you want to do a poem about casrip, man, I would certainly publish it for you.
We will now move into her second performance, which is titled "The Colored Girl Speaks of the Color of Words."
The colored girl speaks of the color of words. I could say that I was not black enough, or white enough, or woman enough, or man enough, or mother enough, or father enough, or innocent enough, or enlightened enough, or political enough, or culturally active enough, or pinned to the body mast enough, or whale bound to the sea enough, in the microplastic tsunami of my generation. I could say that I was not lyrical enough, or raw, spitting, spoken word enough. I could wash my hands right now, the Lady Macbeth of the West Indies, of the small murders and intimacies on the way to becoming someone's native, someone's definition of any drop of existentialist blood that made me what I am. I could blame any lover for the lack of me. I could blame anyone who sees my colour, anyone in the tick box of power, in the tick box of other, in the plantation chair rocking on white verandas, that I would remain in the shadows of the green heart tree, that I would never be white enough, or black enough, or acid-tongued enough, or representative enough to package or market, to transfer the guilt of generations that lurk beneath each ejaculation. But the suitcase I carried from the new world to the old was made of alligator skin, seamed with the unwritten tears and strangled voices of those whose colour was all washed out, stained to an indeterminate brown of rivers and seamen, so that their language became the scream of capuchins, the brothered blood of Cain, the feathered ash of Cain, the muffled muzzle of the manatee, the roots of the banana tree where Aloysius Benedictine lies buried, the noose still around his neck. But our language is also the vibration of homemade guitars, the self-taught melody of mouth organs, the ornate passage of tabernacles, the ink-stained hallelujahs, whose proclamations of promise rises high in the amens of the faithful, high in the signatures of egrets across a Demerara evening sky, high in the creativity of those who dare to inscribe their dreams like oil on water in the mouth of the Orinoco. Rise high with the words of Marley, emancipate yourself from mental slavery, none but ourselves can free our minds. So, this is a praise song for the enough of us. We are enough in the transcribing of us. We are enough. We are enough. I am enough.
Yo, that was wonderful.
Great.
Yes. That's great, Maggie. Another gem.
Yes.
We are enough. You know.
Yes.
That's my takeaway. It's that we don't have to be like anyone else. Just be you, right? You are enough.
Right.
So Maggie, talk about the inspiration for that piece, and where is it featured? Is it a standalone or is it in one of your books?
It will be in my next book. Yeah, and I've got it on a CD that I made,
Okay.
that I recorded a couple of years ago, which I think you've got.
Yes, I do.
Yeah.
In fact.
Yeah.
Nice. And the title, what was the inspiration for the title? The Colored Girl Speaks of the Color of Words.
Well, it comes from a mixed race place as a position of, you know, a woman who's mixed race, a woman of color, because since we came over to, I mean, we Guyanese are all different colors, as we know that, you know, and there's all different words to describe people's races, from Douglas to this to that, you know. So and when you study as well, there are a lot of labeling that comes up, you know, what to call certain groups of people and what's political correct and what isn't politically correct, and just how, like, when we grew up, colored was a word.
Yes.
But it's not acceptable now. You know, you're not supposed to use that word. So really, I'm just playing around with being mixed race or colored, about the word, about where I stand, and about our ethnic history. You know,
Absolutely.
and really just you know, celebrating that and believing in yourself.
Yes.
So that's kind of it in a nutshell.
So let's move on to the third poem by Sister Maggie, which is I Sing to the Greenhearts. And before we go into that, I'm going to ask Sister Maggie, because I know you've got a book with the same title. Talk about your inspiration and your plans for this piece and the book.
Well, that's going to be the title poem of my next collection, which isn't published yet. Be another year. But the inspiration was just a realization, because I grew up, as you did, Jamie, in New Amsterdam. And I can't remember any of us actually spending a lot of time in the interior, apart from, because my dad used to work at Kokwani, you know, so I would go in the boat with him sometimes. My grandparents lived in Kokwani, but that was my only taste, you know, of and when I think about the huge reserves and the rainforest, the spectacular interior that Guyana has, and I've never really seen any of it. So that poem came from realizing that.
Let's go right into I Sing to the Greenhearts.
I sing to the greenhearts. I sing to the greenhearts. Do you not remember me? The curly-haired girl from Main Street, warned not to wheel her bike on the back dam, where the road became track, became bush, became the unnavigated wild for a girl child. How can you not know me when my heart dropped down over the stelling to watch the water swirl about you in a feast of crabs and mud? All I knew was green heart never up, so to take it all across the world for arboration. No one let our forests sing. The whine of chainsaws cut out their harmonies, leaving only the cries of fallen sloth and capuchins screaming, birds rising like flames into a dust bowl sky. Keep to Main Street, they said. Do not go wandering into the bush. There are only murderers there and ghosts, mad men with cutlasses and quicklime, searching for the way home since slavery time. The parrots now, so many mothers stoned to the ground so their babies can inhabit the shoulders of men and girls, my grandmother even, the soul of kindness, mother of so many children, I lose count. There's Polly the parrot on the veranda, endlessly singing her name, pretty Polly, pretty Polly, pretty Polly. No one let the forest sing. They were too busy stripping her of her flesh and bones, crunching into dust undiscovered potions and vaccines. No one sang to me of forests, no one taught me to love them, no one brought me the tale of lilies as wide as a boat, only stories of running men and crazy women, mad with snakebite, hollow with gold, and cloven-footed Cinderellas tip-tap-toe in the deep dark woods. Bye, baby bunting, daddy's gonna hunting. So they're saying now, there are not enough trees to filter the carbon to allow us to breathe. Bolsonaro and his cowboys tear through the verdant forests like a rampant virus, razing them to the ground. I potter round my garden like it's the world. We are all migrants here. Japanese bananas, Chinese fuchsias, Welsh poppies, me. In my dreams I sail with Captain Cook, not Columbus, who never knew where he was going even when he got there. In my dreams I am a plant collector. I sleep in a cabin with the artists and scientists. I try to organize a mutiny.
All right. Thank you, Maggie. That is another powerful piece. The floor is now open to the panelists for any questions or comments related to I Sing to the Green Hearts. Yes, Pablo, go ahead.
Green heart wood is the best wood. So,
That's
I
right.
mean, it protects everything. It protects your house from, your home from the salt water and all that. Because Barbados use that. So the poetry is very good. I respect Maggie and I'm enjoying it every minute of it.
Yes.
Blessed.
Thank you.
So right now we're going to move into poem number 4, which is My Own South American.
Hello, and I hope you're having a good Saturday today, wherever you are. I'd like to read you a poem from my collection from Berbice to Broadstairs, which is called My Own South American. Watching the recent drama Normal People on TV has got a lot of us thinking about our teenage years, me included. And this poem also starts with a quote from Pablo Neruda, also a South American. Leaning into the afternoons, I cast my sad nets towards your oceanic eyes. So, maybe, baby, if I'd been a poet at that time, I could write, leaning into the afternoons, I cast my sad nets towards your oceanic eyes. But I'd never share it with you. You'd roll your eyes and laugh, say, don't take the piss, and lean back on the veranda rail smoking. But in 1969, I didn't know who Neruda was, only that you were every beat of my heart. And each afternoon I'd be on that veranda waiting, with a disgruntled sun sinking into the Berbice River, leaning into the afternoons, waiting for my riverman. The carrion crows would laugh from the wires, and Mr. Phillips pounded the piano keys, drowned the sound of children warbling raw notes into the air. I would have changed 3 times. The white pedal pusher jeans, the new pink miniskirt, the chain belt, that lemon frock you liked with the peepholes, leaning into the afternoons, cupping my chin till my elbows slipped, reliving each yesterday's plunder of my mouth, each cigarette an Old Spice taste, each forbidden passage of my navigating fingers. And I waited for the whistle from the street below, the rattle at the gate, and in one cool twist of my seersucker waist, I would become Haley Mills or Funicello, and never in a million years let on how each waiting minute had been a million deaths. And by that time, the night had dropped by, and I could only read your lips by the fireflies. Thank you.
I'm going to stop writing poetry now.
Why is that?
You didn't before?
Man is going to pack up. You're packing
I'm going to
up.
stop. I'm going to stop.
Yeah.
I done. Yeah, I done.
Yeah.
Oh,
You can see why you won all those awards, Maggie. You can see why you won all those awards.
So how did that poem hit you, Brother Vinny?
That was superbly articulated. And I love the words. I love the forbidden passage of my navigating finger.
Yeah,
you
I
can.
saw that.
Yeah. It's beautiful. It's very beautiful.
So Maggie, speak to the title, My Own South American. What was your, why did you use that title?
It's a boyfriend poem.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I sense that. Yeah.
So it's true.
Yeah.
And of course he's South American because he's Guyanese.
Oh.
And I had been immersed in Neruda's poems at that time. I still do love Pablo Neruda's poetry. And I just kind of put the two together really because, I've referred to Neruda in other poems because he just wrote in a way at that time that nobody else did.
So Oil and Water will be the 5th and final poem performed by Sister Maggie. So I'm going to put the spotlight on you, my sister, and it's all yours.
Okay. Oil and water. Guyana, Guyana, land of many waters. Guyana, Guyana, land of many waters. There are refugees now in the Caribbean Sea, fleeing from starvation and no electricity. Venezuelans crossing the Gulf of Paria, small boats rocking in the rough black waters. Listen to their cry in the wind. Oil and water don't mix, let me tell you. Oil and water don't mix. In Trinidad, oil made some rich. Now oil and gas both pumping. And the rich stay rich, but the poor stay poorer. What will happen in Guyana? Oil and water don't mix, let me tell you. Oil and water don't mix. Who remember the man with the ink-stained hands, draw around the shape of a calabash bowl, drip his quill in the ink with his long white hands, say, here, this land is mine, mine, mine. Who give him permission? No parrot, no jaguar, no labber. Who give him permission? No agouti, no camudi, no manatee. Who give him permission? No greenheart tree, no mora, no crabwood, no ants, no cassava. Mine, mine, mine. Raindrop pause in the center of falling, say, yes, absolutely. Place this teardrop on the Spanish side, this one on the Dutch side, this one on the English side. Yes, absolutely. The river running crazy like a wild man from way up who know where. some mountaintop, some stream. He and Mr. Rain in liaison, spit and bubble and run. He got the conversation going, get the conversation flowing, transformation. River turn waterfall, waterfall to rapid, full flow, jungle flow, catapulting down, singing all kind of chorus, down to the river is me, happy, cutting through the jungle, hollering and warning, get out the way. I swallowing whole trees and mangrove roots, tumbling alongside piranha, water snake, eel, and otter, all living and eating and mating and dying. The riverbed trembling with bones, with fossils, calcium deposit, and don't forget the gold, the sought for gold. And after that, the mercury and the belly up fish. So if he have a chance to swallow and drown and chop and slice is do, he do. What he know about responsibility, responsibility, responsibility? Does he know that the trees are our lungs? Just over the border now, the men with machetes slice and burn, chop and burn, and who know the names of the silent people hiding in the wake of the chopped down trees? Did anyone ask them? Anyone ask them? Anyone know their names? Did anyone say, is this your land? Your land? Speaking for the water, remember Mama Water. Remember her daughters stolen from Africa, searching for the goddess who couldn't remember her name. Speaking for the water, O land of many waters, Guyana. But now the black gold fine is a different thing. It's a different thing altogether. It's not just cutlass, it's not just woodcutter, not just driller and digger working hand in hand, not just a coolie man, not just a black man, not just YY, not Macusi. For oil and water don't mix, I tell you, oil and water don't mix. And who will take us to Omai now that Wilson Harris has gone? Who will take us to Omai? Who will row us across, guide us across the deep black, satin black wilderness? All the red and white of us, all the yellow and black of us, all the plantation children of us, all the overseer Massac Pickney, all the blue-eye long hair of us, all the Douglas, the curly hair, the poets, the rabbis, the obeah men, the pundit, all. For oil and water don't mix, let me tell you. Oil and water don't mix.
All right. Thank you, Sister Maggie. I know you performed that poem previously when you were a featured guest back in, I think, show number 18 or 19.
Yeah.
But I wanted to take a moment to tell everyone that this is Sister Maggie's CD, which she graciously gave to me. And there are 19 wonderful pieces, including Oil and Water, which is number 19. And it features, yes, it's called Mother Tongue. And Maggie, where can our fans get a copy of this if they so desired?
From me.
Okay, so
we're very fortunate here in the UK to have not only the talent of Maggie, we've got Grace Nichols, we have John Agard, Mark Matthews, well, the late Wilson Harris used to live here, and David Dabadine. And so if ever you're in a room with these guys all together, it would make for a wonderful gathering.
Let's talk about this first book, Maggie. On Watching Lemon Sail the Sea. Speak about the title and what the book is all about.
Yeah, that's my latest publication. That's about number 7 in the poetry books. That's published by Kenaro Press. It is the idea came from actually finding a lemon on the beach in Wales.
Right. All right, so that's book number one. Let's move on to the second featured book, which is Kiskadee Girl. Talk about Kiskadee Girl, Maggie.
Kiskadee Girl was published around about 10 years ago. It's a memoir of growing up in New Amsterdam and in Guyana, and up to when I leave, which was when I was 17. That was published by Kingston University Press, who didn't really do an awful lot with it. You know, it's one of these things, you publish a book and then nothing happens. They didn't even do a launch, you know, so I had to run around kind of doing everything myself. Anyway, I've recently got the rights back, so I'm editing it and I will be publishing it as soon as I can.
All right. And we can go to maggieharris.co.uk.
Yes.
Okay, that's the plan. Well, thank you. All right. So next we have Writing on Water. Talk about this book, Maggie.
Writing on Water is my third collection of short stories, and it contains the Commonwealth Prize winning story Chantal, which won the Commonwealth Prize some years ago, and the publisher is Seren, and they were my first kind of big publisher, so I was really pleased to have them take the stories on board. And the theme in the book is about water. You know, there's migration in there. There's themes of transformation. You know, some really nice stories in there.
All right, so let's move on to In Margate by Lunchtime. Maggie, talk about this book.
In Margate by Lunchtime was my second collection of stories, and I live near to Margate. Margate is a big seaside town near to where I live. And there are stories that it's a kind of bird's eye view of this area, which starts really early, like with Vikings. So you've got little stories that are setting that time. And then it comes way up through the 17th century, comes way up into disco time, clubbing time, way up into modern life. Canterbury Tales in Cockerel Morning. There is a very famous book by Chaucer from about like 16th century or something like that, called Canterbury Tales, which a lot of people may have studied at school.
I did.
And I myself studied in Canterbury. I've been there since I was like, early 20s, doing things, seeing the city change. And so I wanted to write a set of stories which talked about the characters, but new characters coming from different places, new travelers, new migrants, not just Chaucer's pilgrims. And these guys aren't necessarily pilgrims, they're all different stories. There's a Chinese guy who's got a restaurant, he's got a troublesome daughter,
Gotcha. Disgusting, as we would say, disgusting. in the Guyanese vernacular.
They're very modern stories, and this was the first collection of short stories I did, and because before that I'd mostly done poems, and with poems you organize your launch reading, and you have to do all that yourself. And when it came to the stories, I found out I had to do the same thing. So what I did was I booked 7 different places over a week in Canterbury, from restaurants to windmills to, I can't remember half of them, and did a story that corresponded to that place.
Yes.
Yeah. And
Nice.
I also work with 7 poets who wrote stories in building on the who wrote poems stemming from the stories. They're excellent.
Yes, absolutely. So talk about From Berbice to Broadstairs, because this resonates with me.
It was my second collection, and the first collection, which is called Limbo Lands, which won the Guyana Prize, that took me back to Guyana in terms of material, in terms of rediscovering my history, in asking questions. Yes, this one. That was a really important one. That was my first one.
So I need to put the award-winning sign here and not the other one.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Gotcha. All right, no problem. So Limbo Lands. Wow, fascinating.
Yeah.
So what was it like winning that award? Did you go to Guyana to receive it?
Well, it was all a bit of a rush, to be honest. I think I got a phone call a week before Christmas telling me that I'd won, and it was just, I couldn't just drop everything. There were no planes on Christmas.
Right.
Leave my kids, it's things.
What year was this? What year was this?
What year was it? That was, I think it was 2000.
Okay.
Yeah, so I
Gotcha.
couldn't go to that. But
Just gonna pick up and go.
when I
Gotcha.
won, I won 60 Years of Loving, won it so, some years after, and I did go then in 2015
Wonderful. All
to
right. Let's
collect it, and
yeah.
Maggie,
love
what
Nice.
is the competition that you're referring to that you won?
the Guyana Prize.
The Guyana Prize, and that is an
Yeah.
annual thing.
Not
Yeah.
anymore, not anymore.
Yeah.
I-
Well, congratulations on that. Now, what am I looking at in the image that I see here?
Oh, that's one of my drawings.
Okay. What are you capturing here?
What am I capturing, Jamie?
I see a young lady. She looks a bit distressed, but pensive perhaps.
I see
When
a
I-
seal. I
which
see a
is what-
seal coming from a black seal coming up to attack her or something like
A seal. It's not a seal, it's a woman.
that.
This is why I changed from drawing to writing,
Yeah.
because I drew these things and I don't know what I was really drawing. I was just guided.
That's
I
Okay.
just like the
love that.
composition. I like
Yeah.
black and white.
Right.
I
I
love
like
that.
Yeah.
surreal
So
images.
it's poetic, you have to
Yeah.
open up to many interpretations. Yeah.
Yeah. That's
Wonderful.
My interpretation is that 60 years of loving could be complicated. There's a lot
Yeah.
going on here, and sometimes you're happy, sometimes you're sad.
Yeah.
But at the end of the day, it all comes back to just being one beautiful
Yeah.
collective.
I like that.
And art is also perception. So
And we
I
are
love the
complex
fact that you
beings.
put it in there to confuse all of us.
Yeah, we are complex.
But-
I like that spin on it, Maggie.
And
Let's
the
run with that,
illustration.
right, Maggie? We're gonna run with Danje's interpretation.
Yeah.
Okay, I didn't quite
Okay.
hear it. It was a little bit muffled.
Well, the illustration reflects the complexity too.
Yeah.
know.
And now we have a treat for you. Selected poems by Maggie Harris from 1999 to 2010 is
Yeah.
available as a free download.
Yes.
So go to Maggie Harris, that's MAGGIE Harris.co.uk, and grab a copy. You've heard the brilliant poetry of Sister Maggie Harris. You've seen her books. You've heard her insight, her sharp intellect on display today. This has been
Very kind.
another amazing Virtual-40 concert. I want to wrap things up with the remaining rapid fire questions that I have for you. So are you ready, Maggie?
Mm-hmm.
All right. You have the power to change one thing in the world. What will you change?
Oh, Lord. I have the power to change one thing in the world. I think it's going to sound really kind of simple,
Yeah.
but bring children up to really respect their environment.
Okay.
That's
I
powerful.
like
It
that.
sounds
That's
Yeah.
powerful. That's powerful. Yeah.
powerful.
Because a lot of folks, like right now, everyone is focused on oil in Guyana, but no one is thinking about the impact of that extraction of oil on
Yeah.
the environment, on the
I have a
marine
quick
life.
question for Maggie.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
The day
have a
that you left Guyana,
Mhm.
what are your memories?
Lots of people come to say goodbye.
You left from New Amsterdam.
Well, not directly, because we stayed overnight in Georgetown.
Oh, you did.
Yeah. Then we all went up to Temeri, as it was called at the time. And yeah, I came on my own via Trinidad.
Were you on your own?
I was on my own, age 17, me and my dad's guitar.
And so your mom was already in England.
No, they hadn't left yet. My mum, I've got 3 other sisters, and my mum was waiting to sell our house. So she sent me first.
And they came shortly after.
And they came about a year or so after, yeah.
So
Yes.
your dad was a guitarist.
He was a guitarist, yeah, but he died when I was 15. So that was one of the reasons that propelled us to move.
Right.
You
And
know,
you still have that guitar, or you?
I still have that guitar, I mean, I don't know if you
Awesome.
follow my Facebook. There's a big story about the guitar earlier this year,
Saw
last
that.
year.
Yeah.
Yeah, I've still
Wow.
got my dad's guitar, which is really, really, really old, and it was in like 3 pieces.
Right.
And I applied to a BBC TV show, which repairs things. And after a long communication and months, they actually did that. And
Wow.
so I've got it completely restored by an artistic person who, oh my goodness, it's just amazing. So I'm going to learn to play now, guys.
Right. Well, let's do this. Let's go to our closing proverb, and then we'll have an open session, and then we'll close things off. And I want to again thank the fans for staying with us. This is hour 3, I think. We started at 10. It's now 12:30, but it's all been well worth it. So our closing Guyanese proverb, and you put on your thinking hat, all right? Because I'm going to calling someone to explain what this means. Peacock think he is the best bird in the world, but macaw a laugh him. I repeat, peacock think he is the best bird in the world, but macaw a laugh him. Let me see who look like they know what this means. Maggie.
Oh God, don't call me. I don't know. The only
I'm
thing
gonna
I'm
stab at
thinking.
it first. Okay. So Peacock think he's the best bird in the world with macaw a laugh him, right? There are two. Here we have is two of the most colorful birds, right? One can fly and the other one can't. Right. If you ever witness a peacock, one of our friends have a peacock in their backyard, and you're lucky you get a show at least twice a day, whenever he feels like it. Right? What's the name of the peacock? But he likes to show off. They're really prideful, right? But I think the macaw might think he has a one up because he can fly.
Yeah,
and he can talk.
And he can talk. Yeah. We're gonna wrap things up with the theme song for the Karna. Again, it was a wonderful show. I want to thank everyone who contributed to today's show. Our host, Uncle Pablo, of course, you can see it, right? Like is that the parrot or the macaw? Or the peacock? Okay. Thanks to all the fans. Thanks to Maggie. Thanks to the panelists who attended today. Angie, Rod, Dionne, Alfred, of course, Vinny. Did I miss anyone? Pablo G, Andy. Thank you all for Angie, of course, for making the show another fantastic Karna line.
Money,